Oh, I don't know what did it, but it looks like I'm live. Finally. Hey, decklist stream. Okay, that was a bit of a hassle, and I don't quite know what worked, but I guess we're live. Waiting on the uh, waiting on the final submissions to come in, and for the deck lists to officially close. Um, oh, we might have some time to kill. Sounds like we're going to be waiting for PTM to get a decklist submission in. And in the meantime, we have 29 players submitted, so we're going to have 30? Is that the first time we're cracking 30 since the first season? Yeah. Yeah, we're cracking 30 players for the first time since season 1. That's exciting. Lots of newer faces in the community, lots of returning faces as well. A lot of excitement around the big, funny Pokemon set. Oh, I just realized I can't scroll all the way down and show you all the names. It cuts off at Red Panda's Bear. There are 3 names below it. There's Platy People, there's Philippe Sander, there's Dinkle7448. You gotta get respect on all those names. I'm still having some trouble just getting the stream registered on my phone so I can actually see chat while talking about things. This is a tech moment to be sure. Very glad in that case that we have some time to kill with waiting for one of the curators to get out of a meeting so they can submit. Alrighty. Well, I'm trying to figure all of this out. Let's see if I can open YouTube now on my phone while I'm sorting out tech issues. How's everybody doing tonight? Excited for the GP, everybody? There we go. Now my phone's showing we're live. Now I can see chat. If it'll let me select my stream. There we go. Hyped AF. I think that's a good way to view it. I am hyped as fuck as well. We don't mind swearing a little bit. We're a couple minutes into being live. It's something about like YouTube only gets iffy about it in like the first 20 seconds or something. I don't know. I don't get ads on my videos. I'm not gonna be throwing ads on my videos. I have no intention of doing that. I'd love to make some money doing this, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I want to support this community and uplift it and see more folks talk about it. And give folks in the community stuff to engage with beyond just playing the game. Because we talk about the game plenty, but there's just not a whole lot of video content about our little corner of the internet, and I think there should be more. And so that's why I'm making it. Got to get more people in Rev so we can grow the channel? No, we got to get more people in Rev so I'm not the only one doing this. I've already had to reevaluate how I approach content creation because I was realizing that if I tried to keep up the pace to the level that I was hoping to keep it up to this month, I was going to burn myself out real fast and probably miss out on a couple months of Revolution. So it's a matter of I have to approach this as a hobby and not a career, because this is not a career, this is a hobby. And this is not something I'm aiming to ever make money on. So I need to prioritize it insofar as I think it is worthy of prioritizing my time. Which is to say, I want to put some time and love towards this project of custom Magic in every regard. I want to put time towards making projects, making sets. I want to put time towards playing custom Magic because it is the form of Magic that brings me the most joy by far. But I need to not try and go super deep on like the content creation bandwagon of I got to pump out these League videos every week and all of this and that and the other thing. Because one of the things that I've been finding is the League videos are some of the worst performers on the channel, which it should not come as too much of a surprise. I think, Magic gameplay struggles a lot more than Magic discussion on YouTube. There's still obviously gameplay channels that thrive, but discussion of Magic tends to be so much more engaging because you're not like kind of wading through player actions and trying to like see who wins. There's a much more broad scope of what's being accomplished when you're spectating a video discussing Magic versus a video that's just playing Magic. And that's not to say that gameplay content doesn't have its place. I fucking love gameplay content. I fall asleep to like Bosch and Roll sometimes, just watching like Legacy gameplay or 3BNU. So gameplay content absolutely has its place, but like you gotta kind of seek it out, not just like watch it because it exists, and that's really difficult. So as far as trying to like moderate, trying to figure out also while I'm like rambling on if there's something more interesting I can give you all to look at than this tournament is currently open for submission. Welcome in, Lux. Doing what I can also to get folks outside of the community, folks I know from outside of the community, into this community, trying to get folks engaging with this format in more ways. And sometimes that means getting my friends to play. And sometimes it means getting my friends to get more invested. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but I try. Because I love this little corner of the internet so goddamn much. I love designing stuff. Talking about accomplishments going into this month, even if this GP goes worse than last one, even if I go 0-2, I submitted a set for a channel on the server for the first time in like 2.5 years. My videos were how you found the format. That's so awesome to hear, Jacob. Super awesome to hear. Glad to know that this is kind of accomplishing what I'd hoped it would, of getting more eyes on the format. Because this is I'll keep ringing this bell as much as I have to. This is the form of Magic that just brings me so much more joy than every other way of playing Magic. I don't want to go on a long rant of, oh, here's all of the reasons why official Magic is the bane of my existence. I think, have your feelings around official Magic, have your feelings around the management of that game, but all of my love goes out to the designers, because the designers are still getting to do the thing they love of getting to pour their hearts into making this game everything that they hope it can be every time they make a new card. And so even when I see cards that I just kind of groan at out of the official game, I try and view it from the perspective of like someone designed this with a passion and with a purpose, and then Nadu also exists. Sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. Nadu slips through the cracks every once in a while. But I try to view even the stuff about Magic that I'm most pessimistic about with some grace and some courtesy, but at the same time, custom Magic brings me so much more joy than official Magic right now. This is such a wonderful little community, and I really hope more people gets to join in these tournaments. And I said this as I was first finding us going live. Let's go ahead and click on GP Archive off to the side of the page outside of your view. And I'm realizing you probably can't see this. So let me potentially screw up my formatting a little bit. We've got 29 players registered, and the reason we're still waiting on decks is because we're waiting for a curator to get out of a meeting so they can submit, which means we're going to have 30 players in Grand Prix Mishiro Town for the first time. Let me disable the waiting on decks text real quick. For the first time since month 3 of the first season of this format, we have 30 players in the field. Just kind of bringing this up a little bit. You can see only 2 tournaments to ever have 30 or more are Grand Prix Athanes and Grand Prix Yamabuki. Everflare, I don't believe I've ever seen around the community. I don't know. If I recall correctly, Everflare like has just fully vanished, and so yeah, Grand Prix Athanes there's just no promo for. But Yamabuki won by Drake, who of course is our first Worlds winner, if I recall correctly. Roxy, the winner of the second GP. The struggle here is I kind of don't want to like. I don't want to show off too much of my screen because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to give a peek up onto my top bar too much, but yeah, I love so much of what's happening here, and thank you so much for the well wishes on getting my channel, Prov. I really appreciate that, and I'm really hopeful. Let's see. I think this was roughly where I had it. Let's see where. Nope. Let's go back into Mishiro Town. How's that looking here? I try to move it so that bar is not visible. Perfect. And let's get that text back up because we're still waiting on decks. I've been very glad that part of getting into Revolution again and getting so invested in this format has resulted in my passion for design. The design side of this community returning in a big way. I've got, as we are live right now, I have 3 set files open on my desktop. I should probably close those while I'm streaming. Let's get a couple of those closed. Let's be a little responsible with treating my computer well. Let's also get Cockatrice closed because I'm still connected to the server. Let's clean up the desktop. Let's clean up the programs a little bit. Lux, as far as seeing the full scope of the format, your best place to go is going to be the Revolution Manifesto search engine. Let me go ahead and toss that link in chat for you. Yeah, Everflare won the first tourney, then left and never responded to anything. Was weird and wild. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. I mean, congrats to Everflare on that win, but it's a bummer that that part of their legacy is kind of just lost to time. And yeah, fully agree, Prov. Pokemon sets do just seem to be good for the format. This is your indication, Cajun. You need to get started on GQ Sinnoh right now. I know you already have, but GQ Sinnoh gotta be ready for 2027. The moment this set rotates out, it's gonna be available to be submitted. Mega curious about brewing decks in this format. I think this format is really wide open. I guess while we're waiting, because we've still probably got like a solid few minutes, at the very least, until submissions properly close. I'm in checking the GP chat. Apparently, Split Moon is sending me to GP Purgatory. That's an oof. Oh yeah. I understand the context of that statement now. Sending me to GP Purgatory of having to wait for submissions. I get the joke. I understand the thing being said. Playing Magic helps with Magic design. Card leaks. What about card leaks? I'm not sure I follow why card leaks. Was there a thing on screen that I didn't see putting up myself putting on screen? Did I accidentally show off cards from my set? I don't think I did. I'm going to take a moment and just pop into the GP archive because I want to make sure that this is centered properly. So let's go to GP 4th Street and let's just look at Diabolical Minion here. All right, yep. Everything looks good. Perfect. Good magic design leaks into my brain from playing with good cards. I don't think that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you meant by that, Zangy. How did DFCs look? Good question, Drummer Pro. DFCs, if I understand correctly, the way that they will work on here. So let's go back to GP 4th Street because I believe Philippe's winning deck, is a perfect place to look at this. So Fossils, phenomenal deck. Congrats again to Philippe on that amazing, amazing win. Love seeing Philippe pilot this deck. It just looks like second nature to Philippe every time I see them pull out this deck. Believe, yeah, Aurora Expand. How does this look on stream? Kind of just watching it on the delay on my phone. Ooh, it's a little chopped off. Let's fix that actually. Down a little bit. Perfect. That works. It's a little more centered too. Alrighty. Let's go back to the Grimpy. Oh, pairings are up. Oh, card leaks my open MSE files. Oh, you wanted me to leak my cards. Oh no, are we paired? Oh, Prov, we're paired. Who up seeking the horizon right now? Oh no, from everything I've heard, I do not know how to approach the mono green matchup. Oh boy, mono green versus berries. Coveted Peacock's berries. I can never tell if it's a case of like I need to put my name in the deck name. It makes it easier to follow who's on here, because like if you saw on the GP archive with last GP, our names weren't in the like deck titles. It's always hard to gauge. Alrighty, we are no longer waiting for decks. Let me get that text out of the way. It is officially time. Folks might want to ring that bell on custom on the Revolution chats. The decklist stream has begun. Still find it so funny that this card has a white mana symbol kind of just hanging out there. It's not exactly a white mana symbol, but it just draws my eye every time without fail. Alrighty, let us begin with Madalonian on white-red Electies never goes out of style. This looks like just sort of a pretty clean Electies list. If I understand correctly, there was a red-white Electies list that got into deck lists. Oh, just gonna... Just wishing PTM well. No need to apologize for the delay. Gave us some time to talk about custom Magic stuff and Magic in general. Alrighty. Folks in chat can point out to me if these decks got into the deck lists channel, because we got to get moving. There's 30 decks to talk about, and I'm going to my local card shop tomorrow for Commander Day. So Madalonian's white-red Electies never goes out of style. Pretty simple looking list. Very aggressive. Looking to just kind of jam Calamity Cat, Plucky Trainer on 1, Prince of the Pride, Screeching Grauku, and Solid Smog on 2, Electies on 3, Chosen of Heliod on 4, with Sparks of a Revolution, Magma Flow, and Gift of Inspiration, all just being phenomenal ways of putting more bodies on the board and pushing more damage and getting a bit more value. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Gift of Inspiration really get played all that much, but this card is really sweet. Primal Fissure, Temple of Origins, Coalesced Lands. Coalesced Lands. Is this Coalesced Lands just for fixing, or is this Coalesced Lands with a colorless card in the sideboard? Is this Coalesced Lands with a sort of colorless card in the sideboard? Gentle Grasp. I will say, especially in a very dual light format, I'm much higher on just running Coalesced Lands for the sake of if you can get both in play, they become just like full on pain lands. I do like that a fair bit. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty clean deck. The 2 Titan Stairs. My biggest concern is just the double white 2-drop off of the mono red 1-drops. Means that Temple of Origins is really your only way of getting that reliably on the 1-2. Otherwise you could I guess you could lead Coalesced Peaks, take 1, play the 1-drop into Coalesced Mesa on 2 to play your Prince of the Pride, but it's probably not super critical. Yeah, this is a pretty simple, pretty clean, aggressive deck. Ozan Inquirer is a great taxation creature. Looming Psyhawk just seems ever important right now. Gentle Grasp is great stack interaction. Magma Flow, the 4th copy, is great. Soul Guide Lantern also seems ever more important, and the 3rd copy of Titan Stairs is fun. Sweet deck, Matt. Hope I don't pair into you. Chipmunk is on You've Got Mail. This looks to be, this is Aqua Crew, Warden of Depths, Sultai Control, Sultai Self-Mill Control, 3 of Callisto. Oh, that's going to be fun and terrifying. So, 3 of Eager Scavenger and 2 of Morbid Bloomer at the 2-drop spot. 3-drop spot is 2 of Spiky and 3 of Callisto the Techiarch. 3 of the Aqua Crew, 2 of Warden of Depths. I'm also just gonna say, anytime that folks are curious about cards, please check out the Revolution Manifesto. In fact, I'm just gonna grab this link again and put it in chat again periodically, because I think it's very critical. I can't spend a lot of time telling everybody what every single card in the format does. I can try and pause so people can read it, but we've got 30 decks to get through, and this is number 2. So please, by all means, check out that link in chat for your own benefit. If there are any cards that you would like to look at a bit deeper, one of Jack is super spicy. I like the Callisto call. This is a really solid blocker in a format that looks to try and get pretty aggressive, especially with Yeji floating around. There's a lot of 3 power creatures kicking the field, so Callisto I feel blocks pretty well. Unfortunately, it is nothing in the face of a Calamity Cat. Skitty is just the champion of the format. Invasions into the sideboard. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I saw Chipmunk talking about this, and yeah, that is a super sweet include. 1 of Jack, 2 of Refract is neat. 2 of Refract over any copies of Omen of Deception is surprising. I guess the hand information might just be more valuable than the Omen. I feel like the Omen Scry, worst case scenario would be better, but I'll let Chipmunk tell me how that goes, I suppose. 4 of Harbor Mail, obviously the reason you're on something like this anyways, is just so much good card advantage, good value over time, so much filtering. It's the reason to be on Muddy Water for the most part, because I don't think Muddy Water is all that good on its own, but Harbor Mail does make it so much better when your 2-mana removal spell comes with a cantrip. Chronicle of Extinction, nice to see this card still getting played after its nerf. Very glad it got nerfed. 2 Phoenix's Touch, 3 Omen, 4 Root Fossil. I'm so glad this card looks and feels so good. Refract goes to the graveyard for surface easier. Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. That's very fair. I guess you do just want to kind of get stuff in the bin as quickly as possible. Like you're only really usually surfacing like root fossil, but still this is a good card to surface for 3 mana. Like I think this is far and away the best surface card in terms of trying to cast it out of your graveyard. It's crazy how good this is compared to the rest. Um I love root fossil so much. Um Land base is 4 of each fetch, 3 nascent light veins, 1 oh well the land base is a bunch of individuals. It looks like 3 forest, 4 island, 4 swamp, 2 ephemeral mire. I'm not as crazy about ephemeral mire given the no omen of deceptions, but like I guess you got Eager Scavenger, you got Spiky, you've got Callisto, Aqua Crew and Warden of Depths are good for it. I don't know. I You've got Omen of Slaughter, so and Vanax's Touch, so there are going to be things sitting in play discounting it, so that's good enough, I guess. I am surprised to see 8 fetches, 3 Nascent Light Vein. I feel like going this deep on the fetches is a little suspect, especially when like getting stuff out of your hand isn't really going to be happening for the most part. Like there's not really going to be like draw discard happening. So you're always going to make your land drops, but I feel like you run out of basics very quickly. Sad to see no Entangled Fossil, but I get it. Yeah, I think Entangled Fossil is neat, and the more I've spent time looking at Entangled Fossil, it just has looked very subpar compared to where I want to be. Hungry Blob, Seafloor Treasures, Maim, Invasion's End, and Pull of Tizers in the sideboard. I've seen Chipmunk playing this deck a couple times, and I have not taken a look at the lists I believe they've gotten into the Decklists channel, so I'm surprised to see that Seafloor Treasures is a sideboard card here. This feels like it would be really right up your alley in terms of like cheap Harbor Mail enabler that like just puts more cards in your graveyard, digs you a bit deeper, can be played if you've held up counter magic. I'm surprised to see only 2 pieces of stack interaction in general. It's very surprising. I do think it's cute that Warden of Depths can play Refract from the graveyard because of how this particular cost reduction works with Prismatic Mana. Yeah. Chipmunk's been on a tear with this deck. This deck has looked sweet every single time I've seen it played. I'm gonna be saying this a lot. I kind of hope I don't pair against this. That seems like a rough matchup. Though they don't have a ton of stuff to fight berries. We're gonna do a count actually. I know a lot of people were scared about berries going into this tournament, so we're gonna do a count of how many berries decks we see. Because if last tournament is any indication, everyone's gonna be afraid of a particular deck and no one's gonna play it. Requiem is on Mardu Yeji. See Yeji play Yeji. I wonder how different this is from the we're on 4 ofs of each of the enchantments, 4 of Calamity Cat, 4 of Contest Coordinator, 4 Scattering Swine, 3 Yeji, 3 Ironback Tyke, 4 Urban Explorer. The thing you like about berries is being the top deck is that a lot of the hate for the deck works against other popular cards as well. That's definitely true. I think the fact that the best hate against berries is stuff like Psyhawk, which has play against Yeji, and Hungry Blob, which has play against like all of these value enchantments. It's just very nice. 4 of Urban Explorer, 3 each Garen and Sinido, and then 1 Sheng Fa, which I can tell you from playtesting. Yeah, this does look familiar, Lux. This is the deck I handed you, pretty much. I believe there are some changes compared to the deck that I handed you, because I believe that one had 24 lands. 4 Cityscape, 3 Primal Fissure is so crazy to me. I love Cityscape. I do not like being on 4 Cityscape unless you have a lot of draw discard, and this deck's draw discard is Garen, and that's it. And especially like 7 fetches, 8 basics with 3 Ironback Tykes. I just feel like you run out of basics so fast. Shengfa is so good. Yeah. 4 Contest Coordinator, you're going to get Shengfa every time you want it. Like, it's just going to be there for you every time. The second copy of Shengfa on the sideboard to liquidate, to bring the house down, 2 Path of Phoenix, 4 Gone Pickin', 4 Soul Guide Lantern. That all makes sense. No berry hate that I can see is interesting. Scribbles, Scribble is just all in Sultai Golems. I love this so much. Thank you so much, Scribble. I need to talk with you about Sultai Golems because I have a brew for Sultai Golems that I am loving. It's lying about being Sultai Golems because it's 4-color golems. It's redless golems. I'll have to hook you up with my brews with my big brain plan. We got all the Titans, Unspeaking, Unflinching, and Unyielding, along with 2 of Aqua Crew, 4 Sifting Through Soot, which is going to be great to just bring those big golems back, or just kind of gain you some life and eventually push damage to the opponent. 2 Chronicle of Extinction, 4 Muddy Water for 4 Harbor Mail, as well as 4 Seafloor Treasures to help get those Harbor Mails more reliably. Empty Shell is just some solid removal. And Thunderous Avalanche, very good when you just have a bunch of like dummies that are just going to sit and play for a while. One of the better golem lists. I don't know if I'm inclined to agree. This feels kind of like Scribble messing around with like a big dumb golems deck. But I will say, like, I think if you're on golems, getting like 1 or 2 of is nice. Having all 3 is just great. I think all of them together are just so lethal. I'm not sure how well this is going to do. I am praying for the Scribble sweep. I would love to know what Scribble intends on promoing if this deck wins. My money's on Harbor Mail. Ignore the Titans, promo Harbor Mail. Basic, very basic dense mana base, which is like, this is what I want to see. If you're on the 4 of each fetches, I think the very basic dense mana base is where you want to be, just because like you've got so many fetches, you're going to be hoping to draw them a lot, especially with something like Unflinching Titan, which can get those fetches back out. Having a bulk of fetches, like this is 16 fetchable lands on 8 fetches, with one of those fetches getting 2 basics out. Like this is where I feel like the 8 fetch mana bases want to be. Side is 3 Hungry Blob, 2 more Empty Shell, 2 more Thunderous Avalanche, 4 Forget Their Names, and 4 Search and Seizure. Forget Their Names is so brutal. Oh, this is how you beat Yeji right here. This is how you bully Yeji right here. Awesome stuff. Dravos Argentium is on Silver Sapphires. Oh, yes. What? What? Wrecking Whale? What are you doing here? Scribble also decks people out with Forget Their Names. Yeah, God, Forget Their Names is so cool. So Dravos is on Scuttling Cicada, Ignited Soul, Spiky Aqua Crew, Wrecking Whale, with 2 copies of Jack, 4 of Maim, 4 Harbor Mail, 4 Omen of Deception, 3 Root Fossil, and 4 Aqua Crew Flagship. A lot of stuff that you can get flagship value off of. You've got the Root Fossils, you've got the Wrecking Whales, you've got the Spikies, you've got the Scuttling Cicadas. I love that whale. I don't know if it's all that playable, but I love that whale so much. Fully with you there, Lux. Mana base is 24 lands, 7 fetches, 8 basics, 4 of Deep Life Cavern, 1 Hollowed Chamber, 4 Nations Light Vein. I think that makes sense. I think having a lean towards blue and black makes sense. It's a very blue-black deck with like a light green splash in the main. This does seem strong against. It's like fine in grindy matchups. The whale, the deck as a whole seems great in grindy matchups. It seems like that's the kind of angle it wants to be taking. Scuttling Cicada, I don't know if this is the deck I envisioned Cicada getting played in, but it's still cool to see. Sideboard is 3 Hungry Blob, 3 Avert Disaster. Yes! Avert Disaster being played. It's very, very upsetting to me that this is not a 4 of, because I feel like you want to play side of this card if you want it at all, but I'm still cheering for Avert Disaster being here at all. I think one of the things that is very much on my radar is I want to get Avert Disaster in more decks that are playing Ignited Soul, because being able to pitch your first Avert Disaster so all of the remainder become proper counter spells is just so cool. For Drown in Sorrow, God, I keep forgetting this is in the format. This is such a good sideboard call. Two of Upstage, which, yeah, you can get all of the relevant types. You can get creature, planeswalker, artifact, and enchantment in play. That's a good catch. And then Soul Guide Lantern, obviously very good here. Crush on red Go Wide Enchantments, Eidolon of Empty Thoughts, Arid Outrider, Gubernatorial Fundraiser, Petros, Perforos's Double, Ardor, Forefront of Freedom, all four ofs, with Koyos, Spirit of Karda, Punishment from Nyx, Sparks of Revolution, Flags on High, and Sunny Day joining the field as the only new card in the main here. Yeah, the only new card in the main. Sunny Day. Yeah, this card is sweet. So Flaw in the System, Satyr Arsonist, Ignite, Boiling Storm. Boiling Storm's another new card. That's cool. Yeah, seems fine enough. Scathing Remarks and Soul Guide Lantern. This is very much, I think, on brand. How many tokens, how many like cheap tokens are getting made here for Arid Outrider? We've got Gubernatorial Fundraiser can put an enchantment in play. Sparks puts a token in play. Flags on High puts a token in play. That's like 4 1-drops, 8 2-drops for Arid Outrider, and 8 1-drops if your Eidolon of Empty Thoughts dies. It's not nothing. I'll be interested to see how this performs. Not sure how I feel about it. I mean, like, Koyos, Ardor, Petros just seems like a recipe for a good time, even if the deck struggles otherwise. But like, it's just gonna kill people. If people give this too much time, it's just gonna kill you. Flaw in the System is very good against the greedy mana bases, but folks leaning on the fetches are just going to kind of mean Flaw in the System doesn't come in. You know, what Flaw in the System does do is it punishes Berry Fermenter pretty well. That's pretty nice. Yeah. Scathing Remarks is also pretty good against berries. You just gain so much life as berries. Magma Dragons, very sorry, Registeel. Oh, yeah, because this is Magma Dragon's blue-green golems list. Congratulations again to Magma Dragon. Not again. Congratulations in general to Magma Dragon for getting this into the Decklists channel. This is really cool to see that this deck succeeded as well as it did. Cool to see Whitecliff Pilgrim getting play. This is an Ozon's Blessing deck that can Blessing for 16 of its 20 creatures. Getting Herald of Awakening as just a 1-mana 2/2 defender that loots away a card. I don't know how crazy I am about Herald of Awakening without any ruins whatsoever. Just because I feel like I would love for this to be able to attack. But even just as like a 1-mana 2/2 defender, this is going to block pretty well. This does dig you a bit deeper. Puts a land into your graveyard for your Unflinching Titan. And is just a golem to get your Titans attacking faster, which is nice. Unspeaking Titan obviously is just such a strong card. I think this is the best of the golems in my opinion. Even with the Unflinching Titan change, this thing just kind of takes over combat if left unchecked. And for 2 mana, this is just going to be a headache, I think, for your opponents. Agent of Deception is great off of Ozon's Blessing and just great in general. Awesome that Ozon's Blessing provides stack interaction as well as board interaction. I think that's such a critical thing I want from Ozon's Blessing in general, is like getting that mixture of being able to fight the board, fight the stack with a creature that you're getting tapped anyhow. So I think this is what Ozon's Blessing really needed. was Unspeaking Titan to join Agent of Deception. And now that these two cards are with Ozon's Blessing together, I think this is just such a perfect storm. White Cliff Pilgrim, really leveraging the fact that you have 16 creatures all with very good enter triggers. Just to get more card advantage seems very nice. The Unflinching Titans at the top, making the golems trample over and getting more lands in play is great, especially as that starts to let you activate your Titans for more golem tokens. Ozon's Blessing, again, I've talked about a bit already, has just all of my love. I love this card so much, and I think this is exactly what I'm hoping for it every time I see this card. So phenomenal way to tie the creature base together. Sorceries are A Journey Begins, which finds every single creature and the enchantment, and I believe finds every single permanent in the sideboard as well. So Journey Begins with 12 misses main deck and only an additional 4 on the sideboard. That's great. So in theory, like, Journey Begins, even if you have all of the Thunderous Avalanches in the sideboard, a maximum of 15 cards you can whiff on between the other 3 copies of Journey, the Ragtag Squads, the Ozon's Blessings, and the Thunderous Avalanches. That's pretty great. That's exactly how I want A Journey Begins to be approached as well. Is just like, get as many, like, don't be afraid to run sorceries with The Journey Begins, but definitely take advantage of the permanents you can get off of it. Ragtag Squad, of course, just going to be getting your golems attacking immediately is so good. And then Collector's Item, I think, is really sweet as well. Solid blue removal spell, just kind of shut down a creature and surveil a couple lands into your graveyard for your Unflinching Titan. Seems great. Or like surveil the Herald Awakening off the top of your deck to get you lined up for a better creature. Not to diss on Herald of Awakening. I do see the plan here. Full respect on the Herald of Awakening. Basics, 12 basics with the 8 fetches and 4 Temple of Origins, as well as 4 Karina's Substitute, 4 Hungry Blob, 4 Thunder's Avalanche, and 3 Soul Guide Lanterns. I'm curious to know what the Karina's Substitute plan here is. If I had to guess, like, it is nice that this can enter as a copy of one of your golems, get you up more golems, but it can also, like, you can just play it. You can't play it as an Agent of Deception, unfortunately, but like, you could play it as like a 1/4 White Cliff Pilgrim. You don't really want to play it as a Herald of Awakening. Maybe like if you're boarding out the Herald of Awakening and you're trying to just go like up more top end cards, you're boarding in the Karina Substitute. It could be interesting to see if and when that comes up. The Hungry Blobs, obviously great. Thunderous Avalanche is obviously great. Not a matchup I want to run into with 8 cards in the sideboard against for the Berries matchup. And then Soul Guide Lantern. Max Watterson, late to the stream, but so awesome to see it. Huge vibes, Peacock. Thank you so much. I'm assuming Scribble. Just getting done with Magma Dragon's list. Green-blue golems. I think this deck looks so sweet. Cajun's Amber Friends. Cajun had mentioned this being on their radar. Wanting to jam Karina Budding Diplomat. So this is going to be red-white Planeswalkers. Red-white activated abilities, it looks like, possibly. Or just kind of like, yeah, kind of activated abilities. Calamity Cat and Jorgen at the 1-drop slot. Melon at the 1-drop slot. Amber and Contest Coordinator at 2, and then Ironback Tyke at 3, alongside Jericho and Karina. 4 of Searing Grace, 4 of the Ruins Awaken, and 4 Gone Pickin'. So Contest Coordinator finds, finds any of these cards other than Searing Grace and Gone Pickin', because Ruins Awaken has a landfall activated ability from the graveyard. I didn't get a chance to properly talk about this, but I do love that this is the missing piece of the puzzle for my Eternal deck that I never quite figured out. Maybe I'll elaborate upon that one day. But yeah, this is a pretty neat activated ability decks. I'm not super confident about Karina, in all honesty. I don't know if this is all that great of a card, but it's certainly interesting. I think Jericho is much more of a like real deal card. I think this card is sweet. Iron Backtike is great. Constant Coordinator is great. Amber, I'm a little iffy on, but it'll be interesting to see how well she performs. I do not love the 4 of, though. I feel like you're very often going to get stuck with 4 copies, though I guess Karina can pitch them, which is a little nice. And so can Calamity Cat, so that's solid, I guess, making up for all of the legendaries on this like low spot on the curve that you're going to get stuck with. Mountains, plains, fissures, temples. That's what I like to see. As a regular standard player, this looks like an alternate universe, which I'm sure you get a lot. I do get that a lot, Sith Mage. I have had people have all sorts of like confused and befuddled comments. But this is Revolution. This is wonderful, wonderful custom Magic format. Fueled by community members, fueled by the people who play it, and could be fueled by you if you are interested in joining in the format. Very much a bright spot in my day every time I engage with this facet of Magic the Gathering and this wonderful little community. And if you are interested in checking out more, I do not actually have it in the description of this stream. You've seen it around. It just looks like a lot to get into with not much of a ground. Yeah, kind of a smaller scale community right now. But this is the 3rd biggest tournament we've had over the format's lifespan. 30 players. Nothing to sneeze at. So, you know. It's we're gaining steam. Lost my train of thought. If you're interested in checking out the format in more detail, I've got plenty of videos on the channel talking about the state of the format and updates to the format as we go. But the best place to go to engage with folks about the format and talk with folks about the format and really get a feel for how to properly dive in is to just join the community on the Discord channel. Sometimes can just be best to take a deck list from the deck list channel and just jamming league games to get a feel for stuff. Absolutely, Zangy. I think like just taking it. This is not a community where you ever have to feel like ashamed for net decking. Net decking is how you get comfortable with the game and the format that we have here, and all of the decks that you're net decking aren't like, here is what the meta has like coalesced into the perfect deck. It's like, here's what a person played and succeeded with the one time, or in some cases multiple times, and just check it out for yourself. So anyways, Cajun's Amber Friends. We got all of these creatures. Ways to get around the duplicate legendaries. 2 army reserves in the sideboard is a fun shout, given that it is a valid hit for Contest Coordinator. Looming Psyhawk. Charlotte is another valid hit for Contest Coordinator. Conscript is fun, and Soulguide Lantern. Let there be the Berry Master. Fran, finally we get berries. I get to scrutinize every berry deck very heavily because I'm on berries, and I have a very strong opinion of what makes for a good berry deck. 4 Smiling Sludge is great. This is looking to be more of an aggressive berry build with Bloom Brute and Lost Resistor, Smart Shopper, Berry Fermenter as a 4 of. Yes, correct. Berry Fermenter should be 3 or 4 of in every berry deck. This is a crazy good card. As a big brewer, I felt a little alienated from Standard. If anyone has a link to the Discord, I'll be happy to check it out. Absolutely. Let me get that link to you right now. I'll just put it in chat. I'm at least a little prepared. It might not be in the stream chat, but there is the link to the Discord server, and then just go ahead and navigate to the Revolution channels on the channel list. Looking forward to seeing you in the chat. So yeah, Berry Fermenters, I'll rave more about Berry Fermenter in the deck tech. I might re-record the deck tech just because I didn't rave about Berry Fermenter enough. This card is so good. Feasting Predator, Berry Master, 4 of Deadly Dispute, 2 Empty Shell, 2 Extraction Ritual, 4 Imposing Iteration, and 2 Gone Pickin'. I'll be ringing this bell a lot when we see all of these berry decks. Where's the Scrap Weight? Scrap Weight is so good. Scrap Weight is a free, immediate sacrifice all your artifacts for Smiling Sludge. It's so good, especially on like Imposing Iteration and with artifact generation that isn't just like berries. Having a way to crack your non berries at instant speed rather than just leaning on berry fermenter is so important, I think, for just pushing over the top with Smiling Sludge. But yeah, Lost Resistor is great. Bloombrute, I am not personally on. I think my build is not aggressive enough to justify the Bloombrute, but Bloombrute and Lost Resistor are just so great. And I think Resistor is the best way to leverage how quickly you can get wide with Smart Shopper and Bloombrute, which is just great. So I think like this is the ideal core for like the more aggro bent to this deck. 23 lands with 1 wastes, 2 plains, 2 forests, and 3 swamps, as well as 4 redeveloped cityscape, 4 primal fissure, and 2 of the black-white coalesced lands and 3 of coalesced cliff. A little surprised to see green be the one that there's the most of, because I feel like you would really want the most black, right? Smiling Sludge, like, because of all of these instants and sorceries, really, like, I feel like that's where you'd really want the most coalesced lands for. I don't know, though. Sideboard is the 3rd Feasting Predator, 4 of Looming Psyhawk, 2 Sinido Voidsinger, 2 Empty Shell, 2 Chronicle of Extinction, 1 additional copy of Gone Pickin', and 3 Soul Guide Lanterns. Seems good. You often remove Bloombrute on sideboard to become a more control type deck. That is probably correct. I'm not sure exactly what is correct. I do like Bloombrute a good deal, but I do understand why you often board it out. I do think I think we'll get to this when we get to my deck list, and I'll get to go into that in much deeper detail with my deck tech. The mana base. Okay, I see. Yeah. So we'll get into my deck tech a little bit more. I'll re-record it. I think Bloombrute is good and all, but I think the best way to approach berries is as a more grindy mid-range deck that can just kill over the top out of nowhere. I don't think it grinds as well as some of the more like controlling mid-range decks, but I think it does what a lot of those decks struggle to do, which is kill you and kill you fast. Hi chat, just tuning in now. Any major surprises that I missed? That we are, I think, like 10 plus decks in, and this is the first berry deck. Although, maybe that's not too shocking that everyone was worried about this being the boogeyman, and we've only just now seen our first one. The fact that this 3-color deck is apparently pretty meta speaks to the format. Everybody sideboards Avalanche and Psyhawks. You can't be fast enough to beat them, so we board in removal and control. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if this speaks to the format necessarily, because there's a lot of 2-color decks that are really strong in the format. I think 3-color... I know some people have a much stronger opinion about where 3-color is right now, and a much more positive opinion about where 3-color is right now, but I think 3-color is in a very trepidatious place, we'll say, depending on the colors that you're choosing to play. I know a lot of people are really high on running both of our basic fetches right now, Primal Fissure being fast fetch, that gets the basic untapped, and then Redevelop Cityscape being essentially Cultivate on a fetch land. I know a lot of people are really high on this. We've seen a lot of people with like 8 copies, like 8 total fetches, and almost as many basics. We will see how it goes over the course of this tournament. I am of the opinion, I think people are really overhyping and overrating how good it is to have the full 8 fetches. I think, being more cautious and putting the fetches that are necessary to help you get your mana smoothed, but also having a priority on like making sure you still have basics to fetch. and even more so than having basics to fetch, having enough other lands that produce mana is really important, because if you look at this deck, it's 23 lands. The number of lands that like will always be producing mana are 15. It's 8 basics and then 7 coalesced lands, which is not to say that like this deck is never going to cast spells. This deck is always going to cast spells. The fetches do help with all of that quite a lot, but one of the things that does come with fetches is the more times you fetch, the fewer lands you have in your deck to draw, and sometimes you do want to draw those lands, because making your land drops can be very important for progressing your ability to play multiple spells. Frankly, shocked you haven't seen a single copy of Coup d'etat yet. If you have 8 lands, you're good. Yeah, that's true for I don't believe I've seen your deck yet, Zangy, but now I have to scroll up because I want to make sure I have not seen what Zangy is cooking. We have not. I'm gonna go on a whim and say you probably are correct on not needing more than 8 lands at any point in time. Yeah. Love this main deck. Sideboard has some great picks as well. I'm also not super high on Empty Shell, but that's because of the particular build that I'm on, wanting scrap weight over Empty Shell. I just like scrap weight being a way to kill on top of having it as a removal spell. Though I won't deny that Empty Shell is absolutely a good card. Alrighty. Let's keep moving. Prov is on Who's Up Seeking the Horizon right now. Mono green, my round 1 opponent. All right, Prov, now is the time where I get to dismantle every deck building decision you've ever made. Deck's good. This deck's scary. 4 of a whole bunch of stuff on the 1 through 3 slots. We got Seeker of New Horizons, Aspiring Anarchist, Growing Gecko, Morbid Bloomer, Skitter Tiller, Skull and Nyx Weaver, and then 3 of Grassroots Campaigners and Yen's Slope Skitter, as well as 2 Thunderous Avalanche, 4 A Journey Begins, and 2 Player Bans, alongside 19 Forests and 3 Redeveloped Cityscapes. With a sideboard of 3 Hardy Rough Rider, 4 Hungry Blob, 3 Vasilisa Helping Hand, 2 Thunderous Avalanche, and 3 Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, this deck's terrifying. I am not excited about this being my round 1 matchup. I think this is going to be a matchup of kill you before I die. Because I'm not going to be blocking you for very long. You just kill me very fast. I don't want to make too many comments about this particular matchup because Prov is in the chat and I don't want to give away my thoughts on how to best play this matchup. So we're going to move on to Epid's deck, where I get to talk about a totally unrelated deck with the exact same 75. I think my best strategy... No. I think this deck is sweet. I'm glad people are repping mono green. Prov has been the champion of mono green, and I am obviously hoping I beat you round 1, but I'm not going to be super upset if you beat me, and this is definitely one of the decks that I'm actually rooting for through the tournament. I just hope to prove what Epid's been told wrong. Moving on to Ricky on 4 Color Consonants. Who could have seen that one coming? On 4 Star-Studded Sagittar, 4 Sunsoaker, 3 Elrontan Visionary, 4 Unflinching Titan. Oh yeah, of course Ricky's going to be playing Wild Court Seeker. 4 Archon of Condemnation, and 2 Skotha Titan of Eternal Dark. What do we use for deck building and jamming matches? I don't have much experience with fan formats. Sith Mage, we primarily use a program called Cockatrice, which is, I believe it's open source. This is something that folks in the custom Magic channels are going to be much more equipped to answer. And yeah, Prov's got you with the answer as well. With any of your questions, I'll do my best to answer, but I do have a lot to get through, and I do have to be asleep eventually. So I will do my best to answer effectively, but folks in chat, if you could help me out with answering some of those questions as well, I dearly appreciate it. Planeswalkers include Sinido Voidsinger, Vasilisa Helping Hand, and Illustrious Shang-Fa. Excited to see multiple people bringing Vasilisa as well. This card is so sweet. I never know exactly what the right way to play this card is. I feel like the answer is you uptick her on the first turn that you have her, and then the following turn you transform her and immediately turn sideways. But I don't know for sure. Obviously, 4 of Grand Consonance, just always a must, and then 4 of Gone Pickin', since we still have the Banishing Light in the format. It is a darn shame to see no artifacts in the consonants list for, I think, the first time. I haven't been around active around long enough to know if consonance has always been on artifacts prior to this, but it really does say a lot of how much consonance was relying on Forgotten Cultivator for so much like card flow and the ability to just like pressure over time and generate more value. And now that it doesn't trigger on enter, it's just consonance suffering. Land base is a bunch of basics: redeveloped Cityscape, Nascent Light Vein, Buried Colossus, Primal Fissure, Sky Pillar. Once again, that is 8 fetches, 10 fetchables. And I'm going to stop ringing that bell on my thoughts on running the full 8 fetches. Folks are going to do it. I do think Cityscape does mitigate the costs of running 8 fetches in the sense of you can always just pitch one of the loose fetches in your hand to a Cityscape. But like, especially because since Cityscape fetches 2 basics, like this is really like fetching out 12 basics for only 10 worth of basic lands. I don't know. We have more to talk about than my thoughts on 4 of each fetch. Do love seeing Sky Pillar here. Sky Pillar is going to kill people. I'm calling it now. This is going to kill someone in this GP. Someone is going to assume that they're fine, and Ricky's going to play Sky Pillar, tap it, put a counter on something, give it flying, and kill them. It's going to be glorious. Also, this card is just very good at going up boards when you can actually activate it. Club Promoter in the sideboard. I know I was originally higher on Club Promoter. Slightly surprised these 8 fetch lists aren't on Sifting Through Soot. Yeah, that is one of the things as well, is like, I think if you're gonna be on the 8 fetches, like, have ways to weaponize that. Have those landfall things. Like, one of the decks we talked about earlier, see if we can find it. It was Chipmunks. Yeah, Chipmunks, you've got mail. Like, one of the things I will say is that like Eager Scavenger is at least some way of weaponizing the fetches. And one of the other things I will give about the fetches, 8 fetches in Chip's version of the deck is, you know, these are lands that go to your graveyard, which fills your graveyard up for surface. So like there's reasons to want to be on the 8 fetches in something like Chipmunk's deck, but I think everybody defaulting to the 8 fetches as like the start to their mana base is a little dangerous. And I'm curious to know how often it kind of bites people in the butt through this tournament. But yeah, for Club Promoter, I know I was higher on this over the Blob going into the season, but the Hungry Blob has definitely proven itself the rightful inheritor of that spot in a lot of decks. 3 of Maim, 3 Thunderous Avalanche, 3 Bring the House Down, 2 Soul Guide Lantern. We'll see if Ricky can get another win with Grand Consonance before it rotates out in May. Itai Ukul is on the Aqua Crew is coming for you. This looks like Sultai Flash, because it is Sultai Flash. This is blue-black Flash with a green splash. Blind Keela, Agent of Deception, Aqua Crew, and Warden of Depths. Rubora Goliath, get out of here. Yours is Sifting just does so much that I had to mainboard them all. Yeah, I saw that. Scribble, we talked about your Sultai Golems deck already. And I do want to like pass my 4-color Golems list by you when I get a chance and get your thoughts on it. So Blind Keela, Agent Deception, Aqua Crew, and Warden of Depths is a sweet main main set of creatures. One of the things that is pinging for me is, this is just me being like terminally obsessed with Ozon's Blessing, is like you have 2 different 2-drops with Flash. And both of these would be great to get off of an Ozon's Blessing. And you know what Ozon's Blessing is? A spell you're casting on an opponent's turn. Seafloor Treasures is great. Empty Shell is great. All That Remains, I am a huge fan of. Avert Disaster, I'm a huge fan of, especially when you have something like All That Remains, Seafloor Treasures, especially when you're like surveilling with Blind Keela, milling with Aqua Crew. Love seeing Avert Disaster get some respect here. Oof. Omen of Deception, 4 of is also great. And 2 Root Fossil, love to see that as well. Another way to get that first Avert Disaster in the bin. 4 Nascent Light Vein, the 8 fetches, 2 Ephemeral Mire, 1 Forest, and then 5 of the more relevant basics. Or sorry, 5 of the islands, 3 of the swamps. My eyes glazed over for a moment, and I thought there were 11 basics instead of 9. Sideboard includes 4 Return to Nature, 3 Chronicle of Extinction, 3 Omen of Slaughter, 3 Soul Guide Lantern, and 2 Aqua Crew Flagship. Oh, Aqua Crew Flagship in the sideboard's interesting. I would almost wonder why this isn't in the main deck, because like I feel like that would be part of why you're on something like All That Remains, right? Like All That Remains, Seafloor Treasures, you're on the most efficient surface spells, so wouldn't that be exactly where you want something like an Aqua Crew Flagship? But especially All That Remains and Seafloor Treasures, because you can get the trigger every turn. Hard to say. Sweet deck though. Cool to see people repping Blue-Black Flash still. Silver is on Wonder of Boros. Silver just jamming the Boros list. Boros Electes, 2 Looming Psyhawk in the main. Oh, Silver has said, I do not want to lose to berries this GP, and I understand. Though we have seen a total of 1 berries player so far. And we are reaching the point of this scroll bar being halfway. Calamity Cat, Melon, Prince of the Pride, Screeching Grauku, Electes, Psyhawk, Bacillo. Always cool to see. Always terrifying to see. I know Silver really wants to get a win with Ardor in particular. So not that I intend to lose to Silver if I pair up against them, but good luck to you on the Ardor win dream. Punishment from Nyx, Sparks of Revolution, and Seal Away. With Primal Fissure, Temple of Origins, Titan Stairs, Plains, and Mountains. Simple and clean, with the other 2 Looming Psyhawks in the board alongside 4 Walk the Dead's Path, 3 Electes Charge, 3 Conscript, and 3 Soul Guide Lantern. Solid stuff. Cool beans, bats and bots. Bats! Someone's on Relentless Bats! Oh my god, yes! Oh, and I didn't even think about Replicrawler. That's perfect. Oh, and every time I build bats, I keep forgetting about Arduous Miners too. This is perfect. So good. So 3 miners, 4 Replicrawlers, 17 bats, 4 All That Remains, 3 Festered Effluvium, 4 Extraction Ritual, 4 Laystone of Ruin. And oh my god, yeah, with all those bats, you're gonna make a lot of zombies on a Festered Effluvium. I'm gonna have to play this deck sometime. 21 Swamps, couldn't be simpler. Rooftop Slink, Keeper of the Scale, Pull of Tyzerus, Path of Phoenix, and Soul Guide Lantern. I think Keeper is actually a really sweet shout with the mind towards like just putting some Relentless Bats in play and swinging them and scaling them turn by turn. And the nice thing about something like a Relentless Bats deck is if you ever feel like you just don't know what to cut for sideboard cards, go down a couple copies of Bats. Make it boards itself. Tomas is on Bob the Builder, Juns out. Oh, Calamity Cat, Scattering Swine, Acid Hydra. Interesting. Scovo's Conqueror. One of Scovo's Conqueror. Oh, to get off of the Acid Hydra. 4 of Spiky. 1 Psyhawk to get off of the Acid Hydra. 1 Data Weaver, 1 Judge, Jury, and Executioner, and 1 Scotha. 4 of Journey Begins. Can hit everything below the Judge, Jury, and Executioner from the deck. So 18 of the 20 creatures valid off of Journey Begins. As well as all of the enchantments and all of the artifacts. 4 Phoenix Touch, 2 Cutting Room Floor, 4 Ominous Slaughter. JJE, yeah, this is a card I have been wanting to get some rips of as well. I love Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Um, it is even more so than Gaze Upon Civilization. It is the reason I keep trying to make approval work. I love Gaze Upon Civilization. I love Chromagoyf. This is the thing I want to make work the most out of the approval cards. It's just always so tempting for me. Land is 4 Primal Fissure, 3 Cityscape, 2 Swamp, 3 Mountain, 3 Forest, 1 Plains, with 2 Barren Ashlands, 1 Miasmic Cove, and 3 Nations Light Vein. Glad Cutting Room Floor is getting its laurels with Wild Boar. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think I glazed over the enchantments and artifacts. Phoenix's Touch, obviously. Omen of Slaughter, obviously. Cutting Room Floor, I love seeing here. Especially with the Scattering Swine, just being able to pick this up and replay it over and over just as repeatable removal is so sweet. It does the exact same thing Omen of Slaughter does in that sense, but this is targeted removal, which is great. And if you can find other ways to scry, it repeats that removal effect. Not that there are any ways of scrying in the main deck. Oh, Omen of Slaughter. I stand corrected. Summoning Swords. Great as a one of. I think being able to A Journey Begins for Acid Hydra is just great in general. And having Summoning Swords as the 5th Acid Hydra is nice too. And then 3 Harvesting Blade. I'm a sucker for this card as well. So cool to see it here. Then the sideboard, we got a lot of 1 and 2s. Flaw in the System, Lurking Vircolacus, Satyr Arsonist, 2 more Looming Psyhawks, 1 Hungry Blob, 1 Quantum Leaper, good lord, 2 Thunderous Avalanche, 2 more Cutting Room Floor, 2 Disestablishmentarianism, and 2 A God Divided. A lot of people are running different 3-mana red deal 2 to each creature cards. Hey, we're on my deck. Coveted Peacocks, Abzan Berries. I am going to take a brief moment to talk about why I built my deck the way I built it. You'll notice I may very well be one of the multicolor decks on the fewest number of fetches. I am on 2 Primal Fissure and 1 Redeveloped Cityscape. Every single playtest game I played, after like turn 1 or 2, I really didn't want to see fetches. They're nice to discard to Extraction Ritual, but that's kind of where it ends. Afterwards, I really want to see, like, turn 3 onwards, I want to see untapped lands, and Primal Fissure can be an untapped land, but the problem is turn 4 onwards it can't be. And I really want to get untapped lands every turn beyond the first 2. So, I love having the fetches when they're in my opening hand, but I really don't want to see them after that. Finally, on Imposing Iteration, yeah, I fought Imposing Iteration with all my might, and then I played 2 copies of it in my league list and played 1 league match, and then I won both games on turn 5 with Imposing Iteration, and I was like, all right, okay, fine, I'll play the funny card. If I win with this deck and I win with Imposing Iteration in my deck, Caillou gets to reign supreme on being correct about this card being good, because I remember having the argument with Caillou when this was first revealed in Cyber Rotation. I was like, this card is a trap. This card is bad. In my defense, I didn't know we would be getting berries. I think berries are the reason the card is so good. I know you tried to convince me too, but I remember Caillou was the one I got in a very loud argument about it with. Caillou was the one I got in the argument with on the day of it coming. You were the one who tried to convince me on it for this deck, and you swayed me. Why would you not play the funny card? Yeah, right? Like, I just gotta play the funny card, I guess. So I'll do like an abridged version of my deck tech, and I'll go into a bit more detail on my deck tech when I have the time to record that. 4 ofs of Pathetic Cocoon, Cogwork Harvester, and Smiling Sludge. I think these are the most important cards to get down early, so I want all 4 of them just every time I can. Smiling Sludge is how I win most games. This just pushes for so much damage, especially if you can get 2 copies in play. This just kills people so fast. I think people are sleeping on Cogwork Harvester. I did what I could to ring the bell about this card getting changed. I did what I could to get this card changed. I am so glad it exists in the state that it is now, and as relieved as I am that the curators were willing to make this change, it is now my personal goal to make them regret ever trusting me with this. No, I appreciate it, and I want to prove people wrong on excluding Cogwork Harvester from their berries lists. I don't think it's cracked. I think it's a very reasonable card in the Berries shell. I think it does something very nice, which is provide us a colorless mana source that is not a land, meaning we don't have to run a Singleton Wastes. Or at least I'm not running a Singleton Wastes. You maybe still could. I'm choosing to not do that. Harvester just is everything I want it to be. Um, what's the angry face for, Zangy? Oh, is it about me me joking about taking advantage of the curator's goodwill? I'm sorry, I am joking. I don't think this card is going to be the reason this deck is cracked. I think that that blame goes to I'm just going to throw this out there right now. This should have an activate only once each turn or activate only as a sorcery clause. This should not be able to be activated repeatedly. This is so messed up. So just calling it now. This thing probably this version of this deck with scrap weight should not see February. I think this version of this card should not exist past January. At least not with Smiling Sludge in the state that it currently is, because this is just good removal. This is exactly what you want Empty Shell to be. But like it can kill anything no matter how big it is. The only catch is that you can't play this at instant speed like you can Empty Shell. So it's a little less reactive and a little more like you have to be like deliberate with it. You can't just leave up mana for it. But one of the things that I think is nice about Scrap Weight is twofold. You know, it kills anything immediately. So you can just have this like just take out the biggest creature on the board and just take a bunch of damage off the board for your opponent for the low cost of just eating one of your berries, which is a very very tremendously trivial cost to have to pay in most cases. But it does the double duty of also being a way to combo kill your opponent. With a Smiling Sludge in play and a handful of berries and other artifacts in play, you scrap weight any creature in play, even one of your own. You could even scrap weight your Smiling Sludge. And then the first moment that you have priority, once Scrap Weight is in play, you activate Scrap Weight, sacrificing an artifact, triggering your Smiling Sludge. And then in response to all of that, before your opponent ever gets priority, you do it again, and again, and again, until all of your artifacts have been sacrificed, and then your opponent's allowed to have priority once you've done all the things that could be interacted with. They can try and counter a triggered or activated ability, but that's not going to accomplish a whole lot. And they will probably just explode. That's the goal most times. So 4 of Smiling Sludge, I think is just so critical to get this down early. The Pathetic Cocoon, similarly, I want this down early as often as I can. Because I'm on the Deadly Disputes, because I'm on the Extraction Rituals, I think Cocoon is just the best card for that. But it's part of why I'm on Cogwork Harvester as well, is I think you want to have more ways of putting trivial bodies you're fine with burning in for your... Yeah, self-reporting so hard. I love this deck so much. Scrap weight shouldn't be allowed as it is. I'm telling people how to play, how I'm playing this deck. I'm going to be doing it again in the deck tech anyways. So I'm fine with self-reporting. If I can tell you how this deck works and still beat you, that means I'm doing something right. But I think having Pathetic Cocoon around is just, and Cogwork Harvester making trivial creatures to sacrifice to like an Extraction Ritual super important. A Journey Begins is another big part of tying this deck together. I know a lot of folks are on like the full playset of Smart Shoppers, the full playsets of Berry Fermenters. People aren't giving enough respect to Feasting Predator and are on fewer copies of that. I think this card is way better than people think it is. Journey Begins just kind of ties it all together and lets you find any of those cards that you need it to, just because digging 5 cards is so much in terms of getting consistency improved. I obviously Journey does get to suffer a little bit by 13 instant sorceries and 2 copies of Berry Masters, so that's 15 in the main deck total cards that Journey misses on. But I think that's ultimately just a cost to pay for trying to make Cogwork Harvester and this draw package work. And I think even just like finding a land off of Journey Begins is just enough to help me get away with it. And with like this sort of cantripping sorcery alongside these like draw pieces. I felt safe to go down to 21 lands. It was also a big struggle to make this a big struggle to make this deck to where it is now and not cut more cards. Or and find another card to cut, rather. Like trying to figure out how to get to 22 lands and a 48 or 38 cards in the main deck was a nightmare, and I just couldn't do it. Because like everything in the deck really does want to be exactly where it is. Finally, in the sideboard, a whole bunch of 3-ofs, because I think all of them are really important, and I don't really want to prioritize one over the others. I think all of them have their place, and Journey Begins helps improve the consistency alongside those draw spells in finding your sideboard tech. I'm on 3 of Hungry Blob, 3 Looming Psyhawk, 3 Yeji, 3 Gone Pickin', and 3 Soul Guide Lantern. If you want a clearer explanation of those choices, tune in for my deck tech sometime tomorrow or Friday. That's all you're getting from me now, because we still have a whole bunch of decks to get through, and it is 1:24 a.m. my time. And again, I'm going to my card shop tomorrow. Have to nerf the decks because Viper's in there. Zangoose Supremacy. Yeah, that's the price I pay for a Zangoose being on the fucking curator board. I put a deck with Viper in. I hope you know, Zangy, you might just have given me the reason to promo Feasting Predator and give it a non-Viper art, so you can't have bias against it anymore. I have to win with this card, so you stop being afraid of it. H Squid is on. Hey Kilgaris, can I steal your homework? On Kilgaris's white blue like tempo scam list. Love what I have seen of this deck so far. It is crazy to me just how hard this deck can grind for being a very low curve deck for the most part. I think some of that is owed to Oracle of Zakros being so good as both like an early play, just like card draw engine on your evasive creatures, good on like the scam line of like getting ocular insight on something and then brief stopping to flicker it and get the Oracle of Zakros out, and even just like as a 5-mana 3/5 that you can play and just start getting incremental card advantage off of. There's just so much to love about this card every time I see it, and I always underrate it. And then Feeblefish, wildly outperforming my expectations. I think it says a lot that, like, from my understanding, Seal Shoals just keeps getting boarded out while, like, Feeblefish keeps thriving. Though the thing that says about the format is that Looming Psyhawk and all of the artifact and enchantment destruction in the format really bullies Seal Shoals quite a good deal. This deck would love HND. Yeah, this deck would love Heroes Never Die. Gosh darn shame that Duelist of Vero just rotated and took one of my favorite cards in the format away. But that's fine. We find new favorites. It's the nature of a rotating format. We find new things to love every time. But yeah, this deck would love Heroes Never Die so much. So. Gonna pause for just a moment, let my microphone catch back up. I've been having like small technical issues, microphone and mouse issues all day. It's been really weird. Jumping Jackalopes on nice weather. Not a weather deck. Okay, I feel lied to. Oh, yes, a weather deck. Carefree Kappa. That's where the weather is. That is nice weather. Glad to see Kappa getting played. So this is Melon, Demographer, Chromagoyf, Bacillo, Grassroots Campaigner. This isn't a weather deck at all. It's an enchantments deck, technically. Quote unquote, technically. Because like you're getting a token enchantment off of Melon and Demographer. Bacillo loves you piling up enchantments into play. Same with Grassroots Campaigner putting a token enchantment into play, and then Carefree Kappa really leverages that quite effectively. Yeah, Lurgoyf spotted, Chromagoyf spotted. Chromagoyf with Carefree Kappa and with Gaze Upon Civilization is great. Journey Begins, able to find everything in the creature base besides Carefree Kappa, able to find Omen of Deception and Gone Pickin'. Can't find Gaze, can't find Simmel, can't find Kappa, but that's kind of just the price you pay for having something like a Journey Begins in your deck. You're not always going to have everything get hit. But yeah, this is sweet. I love seeing Simmel here as well. I think this card is just so scary if left unchecked. Um, so cool stuff. Love seeing Silliman District as well over like just going 8 fetches. Silliman District I feel is a very responsible choice. Though honestly, this is a deck that could have gotten away with 8 fetches. You got a landfall trigger right here. Penwrath with the non-demographer ones, probably not sure which blue one. Yeah, maybe you just pledge Penwrath just to go like big stompy. I think I've spectated Jackalope playing this deck once. And I don't remember what they got, and I'm gonna hold off on commenting because I'm gonna let them have their secrets. Sideboard's a bunch of 3-ofs, which I always am a fan of. Avara's Judgment, Disestablishmentarianism, Seal Away, Rebuilding of Londell, and Soul Guide Lantern. I'm curious to know where Londell comes in, but sweet deck. All of these sideboard cards, besides Avara's Judgment, valid hits off of Eternity Begins. Love to see it. Zangy, we are at your deck. Thassa and Heliod tag team with Benthelos of Land and Sea. Stasis, look away now. We have Illustrious Shangfa, Tyranny of Tracks, To the Last Breath. Zangy gotta play the Zangoose card. Is this in here just because it's got the Zangoose on it? You had to have at least one. Seafloor Treasures, Afara's Judgment, Divine Mishap, and Fall of Alantin. Cool to see Fall of Alantin. That explains the 7 planes, 1 island. Harbor Mail, Omen of Deception, Seal Away, Gone Pick, and Harbor Mail with only Seafloor Treasures as the surface card, it looks like. But yeah, I think that's honestly very fine. Like only having the Seafloor Treasures to trigger Harbor Mail, because it is still sorcery speed eavesdrop. And I think I think you're still fine playing eavesdrop at sorcery speed. And so the fact that this is eavesdrop at sorcery speed, but you potentially get to eavesdrop again for free alongside one of your surface spells is just so great. And Seafloor Treasure is just, I think, one of the better surface cards. The more I look at it, the more I am just so fond of this card. Full playset of the 100-Handed Pillars and each of the fetches. 1 Temple of Enlightenment, 4 Temple of Origins. Ripple effect in the sideboard. Exile target creature, then return it. If its entering causes abilities to trigger, those abilities trigger an additional time. So you're flickering Benthelos, and then I guess you're like trying to copy 2 copies of Gone Pick, like get 2 copies of Gone Pickin' for 6 additional mana. Pay 9, make 2 Gone Pickins. I think Harbor Mail's floor is just high enough that it's totally justifiable. Yeah. Full agree. Or exile Afara Athreus. That is fair too. Like just exile gods that are floating around. Having exile removal seems great. Another reason I think people should be higher on disestablishmentarianism, beyond the fact that Contest Coordinator and A Journey Begins both find it, but yeah, disestablishmentarianism, very good card. Exile those artifacts and enchantments, folks. Indestructible is a real keyword. Travel through the Mystic Sea. Just I guess if you need a bit more instant speed digging, if you want to have more stuff that you're kind of leaving up. I see. Fall of Tracks. Great sideboard tech for when you need it. And Soul Guide Lantern, always a classic. Disestablishmentarianism also turns off scrap weight, which is very funny. Yeah, that is something that is very present on my mind, is like disestablishmentarianism I think hoses my deck a lot more than it does other berry decks, which is very amusing. I think one of the, just coming back to my deck real quick to just rave about scrap weight a little bit more, I think scrap weight is good enough that I think even if scrap weight gets changed to activate only as a sorcery or activate only once each turn, even with a change like that, I think this card is still way better than people are giving it credit for. So, like, good God, this kills people. Anyways, sweet deck, Zangy. White-blue control scares me. I don't want to play against you, but I will do it if I must. You did forget to put in Psyhawk, so would probably take out the travels for it. Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Psyhawk does get to do the nice funny thing of being a flash creature as well, so it's super safe to just hold up mana for a counter spell and then flash in Psyhawk if you need it. Or flash in Psyhawk if you've got it. Sometimes just having more creatures in the in the sideboard to board in, so you can kill other control decks is not too shabby. It's also just a 3-minute 2/1 life linker for like some matchups, which is not nothing either. 2/1's not amazing, but when it's got flash, it gets a bit better. Whiffle is on Survivors of the New Set. This is, I believe, got in deck list today. Naya Acid Hydra deck with a whole host of one-ofs. So the big pieces here are Acid Hydra, Speculative Stockbroker, Survivors of the New World, and Indomitable G-Crew, alongside 3 copies of Indomitable Avalanche, 3 Gone Pickin', and 3 Summoning Swords, alongside full 8 fetches, 4 Penrath District, 3 Nation Lightvein, and 3 of each basic. No bulk bio, and this makes you very sad. Yeah, I know. So let's talk about the 1-drops. Farlands Diplomat, good against go-wide decks. Cleaning Pathlighter is a tutorable way to pick stuff off of graveyards. Looming Psyhawk is the anti-berries card and anti-tokens card, and just good in a lot of matchups. And that's why it's the one of that's also got 3 on the sideboard. Club Promoter is solid enough at fighting things on board and gets better when you also have one of Hungry Blob, one of Audacious Rough Rider. Just good if you have the excess mana and you want to just kind of dig for additional cards, or just generate treasure tokens. Hardy Rough Rider, good to gain you life and stabilize against more aggressive decks. Chosen of Heliod, I think, is one of the best cards for stabilizing a board state in the format right now. This format looks very mid-rangey. A lot of it depends on who is playing. Some players tend to play a certain archetype no matter what they do, even if they die to aggro at times. Yeah, there are folks who are ride and die aggro players. There are folks who are ride and die mid-range players. There are folks who are ride and die control players, and sometimes that really does color the scope of the format. Yeah, PTM does skew towards the aggro decks. And I think they all have their place. I'm glad everyone has sort of like is able to always find something that hits their niche, with the exception of Ricky Rister, who will be without Grand Consonance in 4 months, and from the sound of things, will be departing from the community upon that rotating. I think I was going to bring back Black-White EAG mid-range if I had time to play, for what it's worth. You do tend to lean towards aggro, so that's good to hear. Yeah, aggro is in a really great spot, and I think you will find that aggro is a largely unexplored place. So you mentioned having a big brewer's brain. I think you're going to find some really sweet stuff to do with aggro that no one has their eyes on, and you're going to blow some people out of the water. So super excited to hear that, and super scared to queue up against you. Yeah, like so Chosen Heliod, I think, is just so good at fighting the board. Ardor just spirals out of control if left unchecked. Soothing Singer is a good tutorable removal piece off of all of your creature tutors. Bringer of Heliod's Light is good at just like kind of being removal on a tutorable creature, and Charlotte stops a bunch of spell slingy stuff. Sideboard is those 3 other Psyhawks alongside 4 Melon, 4 Thunderous Avalanche, and 4 Calamitous Warcry. The Warcry seems very poised to kill a lot of your things. Though I guess you have a lot of like diverse creature types thanks to like so many one-ofs that like I guess Warcry could just hit your opponent's things, which is neat. And then Avalanche obviously is good, and Melon is pretty great as well. I'm not sure why 4 Melon in the sideboard, but that's something Whiffle can speak to better than I can. Split Moon is on Flash Flood. Oh, Split's also on Flash. Ooh. Oh, wow. Split's on Flash with 8 fossils. 8 fossils, no other, or not no other, and the only other surface card is Warden of Depths. So 4 Blind Keela, 3 Warden, Aqua Crew, 3 Warden of Depths, 4 Empty Shell, 4 Refract, 2 Maim, 4 Rebora's Appetite, 4 Harbor Mail, 4 Root Fossil, 4 Serrated Fossil. Glad to see someone jamming Serrated Fossil. I just couldn't find a way to squeeze it in. I was looking at um, the Dorka choice is a 1/3, and you can wipe your unsurvivors to draw 3 creatures. Oh yeah, as far as Kalanis Warcry goes, yeah, that's a good point. Clear your own survivors of the New World, and your key mana dork survives it. That's actually a really good call. Nice catch, Stasis. Um, anyways, all of this, I'm glad to see Serrated Fossil here. I was originally trying to see if I could squeeze either white-black Yeji or white-black colorless Control as being the deck to bring, and then just got so absorbed into berries that I knew I had to play it. Serrated Fossil is just such a cool card, and I think it's so well positioned in an environment like a GP where it's open deck list and you get to know what your opponent's on, so you're not just kind of guessing in the blind. 4 of each fetch, 4 Deep Life Cavern, 2 forests. That makes me very sad that you're on 2 forests and 4 of the land that enters tapped unless you control a forest. I'm of the opinion I think the GQ fetches, the GQ duels are best when one of the 2 colors they produce is a splash color. That's just my personal take. And even then, I'm not super high on them, but I do think they're very relevant and important to how to best approach mana bases in the format. Particularly these 3-color wedge mana bases. I'm seeing 10x Forest. That's super fair. So how often are the Primal Fissures and Redeveloped Cityscapes being used to fetch that forest on turn 1, so you can go turn 2, don't play Blind Keela? That's my thinking. Is getting the forest off of the fetches is nice, for sure. Getting those Deep Life Caverns untapped off of the forest is great, for sure. How often are you going to want to put the forest in play over a swamp or island on the early turns? And that's the rub. That's the rub right there. Especially when like your green cards are Root Fossil and Aqua Crew, and that's it. And Root Fossil doesn't need to be need you to have green until you're surfacing it, and Aqua Crew is a 5-drop. So like you're probably not going to want the forest early, but then you need the forest early for Deep Life Cavern. It's a weird tension. But Split's a pretty good control pilot, and even if this is more of like a tempo-y shell, this does still have a lot of control vibes about it, and Split's just on such a tear with Revolution. I would not be surprised to see Split just like bring this deck that wasn't like bring like Sultai Flash and just like everyone blinks and Split's in the top cut. They're just such a good pilot. 4 of Hungry Blob, 4 Noxious Conditions. Sweet to see this card getting played. 3 Sifting Through Soot, and 4 Soul Guide Lantern. Do especially love Noxious Conditions here. Great for the Flash plan in general, and just makes so much mana, especially if you're playing it on your opponent's turn. Just getting to untap and with all of those treasures is going to be so scary. Volt Switch on Multiplying Rage Mark IV with Jorgen, Ironcliff Blaster, Spikemane Lion, Skovos Conjurer, and Pyros Raider. Reply to the Call, Momentous Charge, Final Performance, Ram Through, Erupt, and Scrape the Heavens. Oh my goodness. We are getting big stats here. 4x Ram Through. If the creature has Trample, which... let's see. We've got Momentous Charge can grant Trample. Erupt can grant Trample. Skovos Conjurer comes with Trample innately. This is spicy. Hey, Nessian Woods even has Trample. This is the only list my mono green list has dropped a match to. Deck has insane speed. Yeah, this seems really sweet. Skovos Conjurer just puts so many stats on board so fast. And Pyrus Raider um, just seems like similarly well equipped to help you just turn sideways so wide. Um, and like Jorgen, like put a bunch of stats, put a bunch of buffs on Jorgen, turn him sideways, like ram through an opposing creature. Just all seems so sweet. Final Performance also just seems like a really great removal spell, especially with that excess damage clause if a creature died this turn. Cool to see somebody playing it because it does rotate in a couple months. Sideboard is 1 Scophos Conjurer, 1 Pyrus Raider, 4 Hungry Blob, 1 Momentous Charge, 4 Ensconce, and 4 Recycle of Life. Sweet stuff. I've been seeing Volt Switch putting up some nice results with this deck, so congrats to Volt Switch on getting some good wins. And I gotta say, I don't know what to make of a matchup like this. This seems like a scary deck to queue into. Best of luck to Volt Switch's opponent, and also good luck to Volt Switch, whom I don't know if I believe they're new to the community. So cheers to them on potentially their first GP. All Who Wander is dropping acid. Puns. So this is an Abzan Acid Hydra deck where Journey Begins hits every single, does not hit every single, hits most of the creatures, missing on Survivor Through the New World, Judge, Jury, Executioner, Bringer of Heliod's Light, and Archon of Condemnation. That is 11. Plus Journey, so that's 15. Oh, Stasis is frowning. We know why Stasis is frowning. No bulk bioengineering. Where's the bulk bioengineering? Far fewer 1-drops, but there are still some with Hungry Blob, Data Weaver, Hardy Rough Rider, Getaway Proxy. But we also got 4 of Sunsoaker, Acid Hydra, Mana Harvesters, 3 Looming Psyhawk with the 4th in the sideboard, 3 Renowned Rough Rider, 4 Survivors in the New World, 3 Judge, Jury, and Executioner, 2 Bringers, and 2 Archons. It's great. Mana base with 7 fetches, 3 redeveloped cityscapes, 2 forests, 2 plains, 3 swamps, 4 Nascent Lightvein, 1 Miasmic Cove, 1 Gates to the Underworld, and 3 Sunlit Ruins. No bulk sad face, yeah. It's my round 1 match and I'm on berries. Oh no, Fran! It's okay. From what I've seen so far, you and I might be the only 2 people repping berries, so we've got to stick together, we've got to stay strong and never queue into each other. 1 Milan in the sideboard, 4 Lurking Virkalakis, 1 more Looming Psyhawk, 3 Hungry Blobs, 3 Data Weavers, and 3 Hardy Rough Riders. 3 of each of the one-ofs, it looks like, besides Getaway Proxy, is very funny, just to, like, in the matchups where you really want to fetch for this, you really don't mind having more. 3 Psyhawks main. You're so done. Oh, no. Next round against each other. Please, no, Zangi. Don't speak that into existence. I threw out there that I didn't want to match into them. You're throwing it out there that we're going to. Liz actually bringing Storb. Oh my god, I wasn't sure they would do it. I can't believe Liz actually was able to put Urbanoid in deck lists, and the fact they're bringing it to the GP really says a lot of their faith in this deck. I know they've gotten like some really scary fast kills. Urbanoid being like the real deal is just so beautiful. So this is an Urbanoid extraction mission deck trying to get extraction mission paying black and a red and then 1 of any color to extraction mission out the Urbanoid, or you can pay a blue in addition to mission on your opponent's end step, so that way you keep both things around on to your next turn. But really, the goal is you want to extraction mission out Urbanoid, making the original tapped and the copy untapped with haste for the turn. And then you cast something like an Expedite, Static Augment, or Reply to the Call, all 1 mana cantrip haste granting spells that can give your tapped Urbanoid haste, be cast off of the mana from your token Urbanoid, and untap both. making it so all of your subsequent instants and sorceries produce get 2 mana, and then you spend 1 of that 2 on your cantrip to keep going. With Covetous Frostworm as a way to get more value, if you can get this in play alongside it. Brass Oracle as a way to kill people with all of your instants building up its stats, and then your sorceries just murdering people. 1 of Ensconce to give a creature hexproof when needed. 1 of Seafloor Treasures, I assume, as just sort of a solid bit of like way to cantrip from your graveyard as you start taking too deep. They have coups in the main now. Seems hard to get in the orb in the graveyard. Just industrialize, then trying to spike it off a mill card. Oh no, the orbs are rioting. You do have Seafloor Treasures to get it in as well, but I do think that is worth noting of like it's going to be difficult to get the orbs in the bin to begin with. Though I also can't help but wonder, like, is it really the worst thing in the world to just get an orb in play, and then if your opponent removes it, you kill them for it? Igneous Visions for more dig. Industrialize as your way of discarding Extraction Mission, obviously is the name of the game. Coup d'etat to help you fight against board-based matchups as you're building up to your combo. And then Research Grant, both as a way to get some more card selection, potentially put an orb in the graveyard, as well as potentially flip it over into Progress to copy your first spell each turn, or copy a spell each turn. This does not have to be your first. 20 lands on the 8 fetches, 4 Nascent Light Veins, and 1 Frigid Highlands with 1 forest, 1 swamp, 2 mountains, and 3 islands. I'm a little surprised to see islands as the most prevalent color, but I suppose given the industrialize being the core way of getting it into the bin, that doesn't surprise me too much. Sideboard is Hungry Blobs, Ensconce, Hostile Evolution. Interesting. Just want more ways of giving things hexproof. Coup d'etat, Abominable Avalanche, and Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, I mean, Lit is always just such a phenomenal brewer, and backs that brewing talent up with scary, consistent piloting experience. Lit is just always on my radar for like a player to be aware of. And curious to see how orbs do in this GP. Panders is on Golem Toolbox, another Abzan toolbox deck, another Abzan Acid Hydra list. We've got Acid Hydra, Unflinching Titan, 1 Stratus Fledgling. We've got Weathers in the sideboard. We've seen no Weathers in the sideboard all of these deck lists. 2 Club Promoter, 1 Looming Psyhawk, 3 Survivors of the New World, 1 Chosen of Heliod, 3 Bringer of Heliod's Light, 3 Unyielding Titan, 2 Indomitable G-Crew, and 1 Warden of Wishes. Hey, someone's playing Warden! Abominable Avalanche. Extremely high on Avalanche in this meta. Abominable, though both, funnily enough. Yeah, both Avalanches are really good right now. Walk the Dead's Path in the main is really interesting. And then Ragtag Squad and Ruins Awaken, just because you're like so interested in making these Titans be able to swing immediately. 6 Plains, 6 Forest, 2 Swamp. Makes sense. You're kind of on a light black splash for Unyielding Titan and Warden of Wishes. Otherwise, you're really just base green-white. Redevelop Cityscape, 4 of. No new fetch. Interesting. Buried Colossus, Swamp, Ominous Quag. Wow, Ominous Quag and Serpentine Woods I was not expecting to see. And only 2 Nation Light Vein. Very interesting. Pander's sideboard includes 1 additional Club Promoter, 3 additional Looming Psyhawks, 1 additional Survivors of the New World, 1 additional Chosen of Heliod, 1 additional Bringer of Heliod's Light, 1 additional Indomitable G-Crew, 3 Cassia the Carefree, 2 Soul Guide Lantern, and then our weathers are Diamond Dust and Shadow Sky. Interesting. They're going for the big ones. I feel like respect ought to be put on having the common black weather, Falling Ash, I believe. I feel like that one would just be really nice as a like way to get sideboard graveyard hate in the main deck with the Stratus Fledgling. Though I do recognize that that in that case, Fledgling doesn't take the best advantage of its cost reduction. I tried building Warden into berries so you could use it to grab the berries infinite combo, but it was all a bit expensive. Warden. Oh, Warden of Wishes. Yeah. I think honestly the berries infinite is bad, and the way that I'm approaching it is to try and get the good parts of the berries infinite without the card that makes it bad. I think the 4-mana 2/2 is terrible. I think if you're on the 4-mana 2/2 for the sake of the infinite, you are wasting your time. One thing I'm relieved to say I don't see here so far, and I will elaborate on further in my deck tech, is no general diadem so far. I think that card is something that berries players should be looking at. It is very good against Smiling Sludge, and very good at just like converting your board into a bunch of stats. If they said gain life instead of lose life, it'd be very funny with incumbency. Oh my god, yeah, Warden of Wishes with incumbency would be amazing. Darn shame that's not what it does. Yeah, Panders is on a cool toolbox deck. I think of the decks that we've seen that are like this kind of Acid Hydra toolboxy thing, I think this is the one case where I haven't seen Stasis be sad that there's no bulk bioengineering, but I think that also makes sense. We're on Ragtag Squad and Ruins Awaken. We don't have room for bulk bioengineering. Very, very surprised to see these lands in this deck. I did not think they were worth talking about. I thought about it, couldn't fit it in Diadem, that is. Yeah, Diadem was hard for me. I'll go into it a little bit in my deck tech, but one of the things that I'm thinking about is trying to find a way to squeeze Contest Coordinator into a berries list. The other two decks do feel like they should be on bio, though, but you need the Golem Token Makers, yeah. I think Diadem is a card that, like, if you can squeeze in a Contest Coordinator package into berries, it's a case of, like, there's just too many good cards. Like, it's hard to get Contest Coordinator into a berries deck. I think at the point where you're trying to squeeze Contest Coordinator in, you're probably getting off of Extraction Ritual and Deadly Dispute, which is kind of rough. But one of the things that you do get from that is that you get something like Diadem as like something that you can hit off of your Contest Coordinator. And in cases where you're getting Contest Coordinator into Diadem, Berry Fermenter helps you get it out into play faster. And Diadem gives you Hex. I said I was going to go into this in the deck tech, but I guess I'm going into it here. Diadem gives you hexproof and gives herself hexproof as long as you control an artifact creature. And you could just sacrifice your non-creature artifacts to make 3/3 artifact creature Cyborg Knights, which just, like, you put so many stats in play. You can sacrifice all of your non-creature artifacts to just deal a bunch of damage with Smiling Sludge, and while she's in play, Smiling Sludge is disabled for your opponent. It has no valid targets because it is a targeted ability. You target the opponent that you're taking life away from. And Diadem's like the best way to give yourself hexproof right now. So it's kind of this awkward thing of like the best card to protect yourself from Smiling Sludge is a card that goes in the deck that runs Smiling Sludge. But yeah, Platy on Gruul tokens, Morbid Bloomer, Speculative Stockbroker, Unflinching Titan, 1 Hungry Blob, 2 Ardor, and 1 Warden of Tremors. Interesting. 1 Vasilisa Helping Hand, 4 Light Vein Arrow, 4 Ragtag Squad, 4 Abominable Avalanche, 4 Ever-Present Rot, and 3 Root Fossil. Interesting. Oh, Rot is very good with Unflinching Titan. Because whenever permanents leave your graveyard. That's really, really cool catch, Platy. 4 of Primal Fissure, 2 Redevelop Cityscape. Makes sense with something like Unflinching Titan in the deck. 4 Temple of Origins, always a great way to benefit from being a 2-color deck. Nessian Woods, Mountain, Forest, Prickly Dunes. I'm a little surprised to see, but it does make sense if you're trying to go in on Unflinching Titan. And Time-Worn Crags, cool to see. Also works with Bloomer. Oh yeah, Morbid Bloomer also does great work with Ever-Present Rot. And Surface, that's probably the C plan. Yeah. Love me some ever-present rot just does so much. Yeah, this card is so sweet. I'm never too high on it. It always just feels like 2 mana is just a tad too much to get to be doing something so relatively minute. But like over time, this does just kind of grind a lot of decks out in a really fun way. I do think it's funny that we're seeing Gruul tokens and we're not on the like stock red token makers of Flags on High and Sparks of a Revolution. But that just tells you what kind of tokens deck this is, right? 3 Hungry Blob, 4 Hardy Rough Rider, 2 Ardor, Forefront of Freedom to join the 2 in the main deck, 4 Firebolt, and 2 Terminal Impact. Philippe is on Fossil's 2nd edition first draft with 3 Tough Nut, 1 Aquagang Diver, 3 Alvarontan Visionary, and 1 Aqua Cruise. Surprised that this is the first time we're seeing Tough Nut here. This card is very, very good, I think, if you can get it in the right builds. And so seeing it here is great. I'll also just take a moment to say, like, I'm surprised the overwhelming lack of Get Your Wish is really shocking me. Also, I just realized this is Aquagang Diver. I just kind of glossed over it. It's great to see as well. Festered Fluvium is great. Harbor Mail is obviously amazing. Harvest Time, I love seeing some respect put to. Muddy Water is obviously good if you're on something like Harbor Mail. Final Fate's solid removal spell and Traumatic Recollection is great in a graveyard removal deck. Shrine to Keranos is obviously going to be really nice in a deck that wants to fill its graveyard over time. 1 of Claw Fossil I adore here. 3 Serrated Fossil, 3 Root Fossil I think is great. 1 Entangled Fossil makes sense. 2 Archaic Obelisk, 1 Aqua Crew Flagship, 3 Cryptolabe. 3 Cryptolabe! Yeah, you can use that mana for your surface costs pretty well. And this does just, like, protect you from hand attack while also drawing you a card. Dragon Age deck was on Forget Your Wish, but that deck doesn't appear to be represented. I see. 4 of each fetch, 4 Deep Life Cavern, 5 Forest, 3 Island, 2 Swamp. I mentioned this earlier. I know I'm very down on 8 fetches overall, but in a deck that's got so many surface cards, I really do think it's the right decision. I also love seeing more forests than any other basic type alongside Deep Life Cavern. I think especially with Tough Nut on 1, with Harvest Time on 1, and like a couple colorless cards and like Entangled Fossil even on 1. This is a case where I think having the forests on 1 into Deep Life Cavern on 2 is great. Sideboard is Club Promoter, Hungry Blob, Warden of Depths, Refract, Divine Mishap, Search and Seizure, Chronicle of Extinction, Serrated Fossil, 4th copy, and Soul Guide Lantern. All seems great. I'm excited to see how Philippe plays and performs with this deck. I think it'd be very funny if Philippe wins 2 GPs back to back with fossils, but with wildly different builds overall. So I might have to root for Philippe just on that merit of how funny would it be. Dinkle 78448, Dinkle's divorced football dad. What? 2 Ignited Soul, 3 Wayward Drek, 4 Athreos Gold-Eyed, 2 Solis Syndicate Pariah, 2 Out with the Old, 3 Bring the House Down. Not rooting for the Orb is sacrilege. I know. 4 Phoenix's Touch, 3 Earthly Penchants, 4 Sifting Through Soot, 4 Ominous Slaughter, 4 Elder Soul Blade. Wow, we really want to get Wayward Drek in play, huh? Wow, this is a Wayward Drek like theme deck almost. Not to say like the theme deck, but just like 4 Elder Soul Blade with like 2 creatures that it can find is crazy. I want to know what Dinkle is cooking here. Divorced football dad. What is happening here? There is stuff I'm not seeing. There's the dad himself. Is this the dad himself? Oh, he does kind of have divorced dad energy. Oh, he really does have divorced dad energy. After all, what do I have to lose? Oh, I'm never going to unsee that now. He became a cyborg after getting divorced. His wife took the children. Oh my god. That shouldn't be as funny to me as it is. Oh no. Moving on. Primal Fisher, full 8 fetches, 2 Temple of Silence, 4 Gates to the Underworld, 7 Swamps, 4 Plains. This deck is sweet. I'm not entirely sure how to feel about this deck, but it's definitely sweet. 1 Ignited Soul, 4 White Cliff Guardians. Ooh. This is just like, put aggro in the dirt. Just like, put this down on 1 and then just put a Elder Soul Blade on this thing. Oh my god. He also has the dad pose with the right angle arm on knee. He really does. He really does. That's why I was like, oh my god, he has the energy. 3 Stellar Witness. Oh, something I'm seeing that's kind of neat here is, you know, we got the White Cliff Guardian, we've got the Stellar Witness, we've got 1 Pressuring Ghoul. Those all are fetchable off of Elder Soul Blade, which is nice. And even cases like the one of Pressuring Ghoul, Soul Blade gets it back. That's kind of sweet. 3 Looming Psyhawk, 1 Silly Syndicate Pariah, 2 Out with the Old. I do think seeing Out with the Old is sweet. I do feel like, you know, pre-rotation, this obviously would have been where Glauna fits in, but I think, you know, Glauna just being 3 mana, remove a creature or planeswalker, its controller loses 2 life. Out with the Old being an instant speed version of that exiles is pretty good, especially when people are doing Yeji things right now. Finally on the list is PTM on Black Red Mission. We've got 3 Calamity Cat, 3 Ignited Soul, 4 Devoted Lackeys, 4 Skophos Conqueror, 4 Barbarous Rough Rider, 4 Corrupt Congressman, and 3 Wildfang Cavalier, with 2 Garen Returned Prophet, 4 Extraction Ritual, 2 Terminal Impact, and 4 Extraction Mission. Land base is 4 Primal Fisher, 1 Cityscape, 4 Temple of Origins, 8 Mountain, 6 Swamp. Out with the Old would kill a Victorian child. That's the pose of someone who's having a flashback about when they used to play catch with the kid. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Dinkle, you might have discovered something terrible, and I'm so glad you have. It's your list. Did you toss this list to PTM by any chance? Because I know you were cooking with Corrupt Congressman. I'm surprised to see he really does just look so sad. I never really noticed it before, but yeah, he really does just look really pathetic. It shouldn't be as funny as it is. Yeah, Congressman with Skitty is sweet. Let's talk about the last deck. Congressman with Calamity Cat is just so cool. I think I am stunned by how little Calamity Cat we've seen. We've seen some aggro decks with Calamity Cat, but like, I feel like there was an overwhelming lack of it overall, which is shocking for me. I'm also surprised to see 3 Calamity Cat, 3 Ignited Soul. I feel like being lower on those cards is a little surprising. I'm curious to see how Wildfang Cavalier performs. I know, like, you know, you want to have a density of 3 drops. Dinkle, if you win the GP, you know what you have to promo. God, yeah, you just promo. you just promo Wayward Drek and find something with even more Forced Dad energy. Oh my god. Oh, I just got a weird sense of deja vu. Just like the way I'm sitting in my chair. Curious to see how Wildfang Cavalier performs in this list in particular. It's a very good card, but I'm not sure how good it is in Mission specifically. It's like, it is a very strong card. I think red aggro decks should be playing it more. I don't know if it's perfect for Mission specifically. It's a great card to sacrifice, which is nice. It's great with Mission and with Garen. Yeah, that's super fair. You know, Garen and Mission both just get to put so many stats on the board. And even like the token that you sacrifice from Mission puts another body behind, which is really nice. It's more so just like, I know you and I were talking. I know you and I in general have been talking about it, but I know you in particular, Stasis, have been really talking up Inner Ring's Pupil, and so I'm a little surprised to see no copies of that in the 75. Um, but I don't know. I like Inner Ring's Pupil a lot with Calamity Cat, but I also see where that might be clashing a little bit with just trying to rush uh, and focus in on Extraction Mission. You would have put some on the board? Yeah, that tracks. We got 4 Temple of Origins, 4 Fissure, 1 Cityscape, 8 Mountain, 6 Swamp, with 3 Liquidate in the sideboard alongside 2 Terminal Impact, 3 Crumbling Tower, which is kind of sweet, 3 Soul Guide Lantern, and 4 of Serrated Fossil. Love the Serrated Fossil respect in this open deck list format. You did not build the board. I see. PTM's got some insight on this Crumbling Tower tech. If this was, if honestly, if the activation cost and casting cost of this card were flipped, I would love this card. But at the costs that it's currently at, I'm a little skeptical. But yeah, PTM's on 3s, and PTM I feel just generally has a really good beat for how to play these like more aggressive decks. So I'll look forward to seeing what PTM's cooking here, if I get to see it. So that is the full field. We are in a 30-player GP. Let's take a brief moment before we call a stream here. It is 2:09 in the morning, so I do have to get going soon, but I want to take a moment and look at the matchups here. Crush Castles on mono red enchantments versus Volt Switch 70 on red-green multiplying rage. Ricky Rister on 4-color consonants versus Cajun on red-white Amber Friends, red-white activated abilities. Requiem on Mardu Yeji. Surprised, I believe they are our only Mardu Yeji player, taking me by serious shock. Madalonian on white-red Electies, never goes out of style. Red-white aggro. Philippe Sanner on Fossils 2.0, Fossils of the Future. Chipmunk on Sultai, let's call it Sultai Surface Control. Aqua Crew Control. Fran on Abzan Berries versus All Who Wander on Abzan Acid Hydra. Abzan Acid Toolbox. Silver on red-white aggro, red-white Electies, versus Tomas on Jund Acid Toolbox. I think it's the best way to describe this. Cool Beans on Mono Black Bats. Magma Dragon on green-blue Golems. Scribble on Sultai Golems versus Dravos Argentium on Sultai Surface. I like Sultai Surface mid-range almost, with the Ignited Souls and the Scuttling Cicadas and the Aqua Crew flagships. This feels like it would be best described as like Sultai mid-range. Go Orbs, either the white-blue kind or the green kind. I know which one I'm rooting for. I'm not going to say which one I'm rooting for. Dinkle on Divorced Dad Energy versus Zangy on white-blue Control. Jumping Jackalope on... I think this is best described as like Bant approval, which is pretty sweet. Bant approval versus Epid on Mono Green Stompy. Platy People on Gruul Tokens versus Wiffle on Naya Acid Hydra Toolbox. Split Moon on Sultai Flash versus Panders on Abzan Golem Acid Toolbox. Itai on Sultai Flash versus Lih on Orbs on Orbonite combo, myself on Abzan Berries versus Provocative on Mono Green Stompy, and then rounding out our 30-player tournament. So excited that we have so many people playing. We have H Squid on white blue like activated ability tempo versus PTM on black red extraction mission. Awesome field we have set up here, folks. I cannot wait to get into my matches. We'll be taking some time after this stream to try and coordinate when my match is going to be, but it probably will be Friday if I had to guess. So expect that video on Friday, hopefully. Expect it sometime over the next couple days, because that's how the tournament works. But I'll have to talk with Provocative about when's best for both of us. But I do have my card shop tomorrow, and I am, on top of all of this, I am a dungeon master for my D&D group on Saturday nights. So I can't go too late on Saturday. And I do have prep work I have to do, and I have been slacking. And that is my call out to myself. So on that note, it is very late, and I have a long day at the card shop tomorrow, so I will see you all in the Revolution chat, and I can't wait to see how this GP shapes up. Thanks all for tuning in. Take care, everybody.